Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with our very first video. I think I'm going to make this our day one video, or my first card in our Scrappy Advent calendar. So for those who have been around for a few years, you'll be familiar with this. Jess and I make an Advent calendar for each other every year. We have done since we started our channel. I think this is the 4th Advent calendar we've done, and basically we alternate. So we do a homemade gift one day and a purchase gift the next, and we just alternate that throughout the month, and it's so much fun. So in the early days, we just created our own homemade gifts. All the playlists are on our channel if you want to check them out. Last year we made a layout, so we created a calendar for each other. And then this year we are doing cards, just for something a little bit different. So I thought I would start the month with a Christmas card that I'm making. You will see me use basically in every card bar one. I am using Stampin' Up stamps. Oh no, bar two, I think. That is because I used to be a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I am not anymore, but I have a lot of the supplies, so I just am using what I have. So I do apologise. This stamp set is actually current, but I think this might be one of the only ones I'm using that is current. This one's called, is it Gnome for the Holidays? I feel like that's what everybody's called there. They're gnome related things this year. Gnome for the Holidays, yes it is. And the paper, again, I don't know what the paper is called, but I do believe it's still available from Stampin' Up as well. But it's sort of got the navy, the teal, and the kind of olive green. I think it's called Mossy Meadow in Stampin' Up terms, but it's that kind of olivey, mossy coloured green, and I just really liked those colours. So I've stamped out a couple of the gnomes, and then I'm stamping out a few different sentiments. So this one says Holly Jolly Everything, and I'm stamping out 2 of those. Now I'm using a navy, no I'm not, I'm using the kind of teal colour. I think in Stampin' Up terms it's called Pretty Peacock, but it's kind of like a peacock green. Greeny blue, I don't know what's the technical term, anyway. And then I'm using that sort of mossy green color, and I'm stamping out Holly Jolly Everything, and then I'm stamping out 2 of the kind of longer skinnier sentiments for the front of the card. And one says A Little Christmas Wish, and the other one says You're a Friend Like Gnome Other. How cute is that? Oh, and I've used some of my dies to cut out that kind of, I don't know what shape you would call that. They're called nested label dies, I'm pretty sure. So I've used those to cut out that kind of weird hexagon-y type shape for the front of the card, and then the rectangle shapes are stitched rectangle dies, and I've used those to cut out the spaces where I'm putting the sentiments. Again, I will have all the measurements for the cards in the description box down below. I will tell you the products that I've used, but again, I'm not suggesting that you need to buy them from Stampin' Up. Other companies do make them, so whatever you've got that's sort of similar, you can make work. I'm all about using what you already have, so you can cut out these kind of shapes, you know, with your trimmers. You could just go with rectangle shapes, you could go with square shapes, circles, whatever you've got would totally work. This was just what I had and what I wanted to use. So I am just folding my cardstock in half, and then I'm going to add a full kind of matting of pattern paper on the front, and I do that for both of the cards. So this is a cream base pattern paper, so the cardstock that I'm stamping onto is cream, or it's vanilla, it's what Stampin' Up calls it, but it's a cream or an off-white. So that is the cardstock that I'm going with, and then I had some little bits left over when I trimmed the pattern paper down for the front of the card, and I just thought I'd add a tiny bit into the inside. So I don't always put an inside piece into my cards, but because these card bases are so dark, I think they really need one. Otherwise, you'd have to use either a really dark pen or like a white pen to write on them, and not everybody has those handy. So I decided to put that vanilla kind of cardstock inside the card to make writing on it much easier. Now I have popped up that kind of panel on the front on some foam dots, and then I'm going to come in with my sentiments. Now I sort of play around with how I might like my sentiments to look, and I think I do like the idea of using Holly Jolly everything on the front, but it's just a bit big for this card. So I come in with the skinnier sentiment that I stamped, which is A Little Christmas Wish, and I'm popping it onto foam on top of, I cut out another one of the same coloured cardstock as the base, and I cut out a rectangle that was slightly bigger than the sentiment so that it would frame it, and then I pop that both onto foam and pop it up. Now I'm going to come in and create the second card, which again, they're the same thing. So we're creating 2 cards for each other each day. But for me personally, I don't know what Jess is doing exactly, but for me, I'm making kind of variations on a theme. So they are the same card. It's just maybe slightly different in terms of the color, you know, the pattern paper that I've chosen, maybe the actual stamp that I've used. So this one I've stamped sort of the girl gnome, but the actual card composition is exactly the same. I don't know if Jess is doing the same thing. I think she is, but I'm not 100% sure. But this was just the easiest way for me to manage making, you know, the cards. I thought if we're going to film a card making and we're going to make cards anyway and film the video, it's just as easy to make 2 as it is to make 1. It's my personal opinion. So that's what we're going with. And I decided to give her the Christmas cards first. These are the only Christmas cards that I make this month. So spoiler alert, if you're looking for Christmas cards every day, you're not going to find that. But I wanted to give her the Christmas cards as our first card so that if she wanted to give them to someone for Christmas, she had time to post them. I don't know what postage is like in your country or in your area of Australia, but we are just sort of coming out of the worst of the coronavirus kind of issues for us here in Victoria, and it's where postage is still catching up, so things are taking a lot longer to get where they need to go. It's always a busy time of year to post anyway, as you would know if you're buying things for Christmas to get delivered, but the coronavirus has obviously made it a little bit more complex for people. Now, this one I changed my mind, and I actually decided that I could fit the Holly Jolly everything onto the front and it wouldn't look too big, so that's what I'm doing. I've decided to go with Holly Jolly everything onto the front of the card, and I'm not going to waste these extra sentiments that I stamped out. I'm actually going to add them to the inside of the card. So I'm sticking the white or the cream coloured cardstock flat onto the backing, the framing piece of coloured cardstock, and then I'm just sticking that into the centre of the inside of the card, just for a bit of interest. I don't do this to every card that I make. In fact, I don't think I'd do it to any others. But I just thought it needed a little bit of extra interest for a Christmas card. Now I've got this red kind of ribbon, and I'm just making some little bows and adding a little pop of red onto the front of the cards. There's no other red in kind of the pattern paper or anything like that. I do add a little bit of red onto the gnome card, which we'll see shortly. Sorry, they're both gnome cards. Onto the female gnome card on the left, because I add a little bit of colouring, but I don't actually colour the gnome on the right that I'm adding the bow to now, because I actually stamped him in coloured ink, whereas the gnome on the left I stamped in black ink. So I did that at the start when I was kind of doing my intro, so you might have missed it. But yes, I did stamp one in coloured ink and one in black ink. So I decided not to add any text or colour to the one that I stamped in coloured ink because I didn't think it really needed it. But I do add just a little bit of red detail to this gnome here. So she's got little kind of baubles on her hat, which I add in red, and then she's got some holly on her apron, and actually I forgot to do it, so off camera I actually colour in a little star on the top of her hat, but I forgot to do that on camera, so you don't see me colouring that, but I have added the little yellow star to the top of her kind of Christmas tree hat. I just think this is super cute, this card. I think all the cards I made are cute, but, you know, some are cuter than others. So there we go. I am putting those together, and now I'm finished. So I will show you some close-up photos coming at you right now. Thank you guys for tuning in this month. I hope you have a wonderful time with us. You will see multiple videos from us a day, so sorry if it's a bit overwhelming, but we've tried to keep them as short as we can. But enjoy seeing the gifts we give each other and the cards that we make, and we hope you enjoy the month. Thank you guys. Bye.